Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Larry Moose Lundstrom.
And I'm Carrie Ankrum.
What's up, Carrie Ankrum? Back again.
Back again.
Here at the Brush Emporium.
Yes.
We're down at the Bullhucker studios, in case you can't tell. This is like your second or third time now, huh?
Probably third.
Yeah, Miss Regular. Yeah, well, that's not. I probably shouldn't call you that, though, right? That's probably it. We got a guest today, Carrie.
We do.
We do. And actually, you're the one that found him. I've known him for forever, since God was a child, but you were the one that hunted him down on this.
Yeah, podcast pimp.
Podcast pimp. John, you wonderful son bitch, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, you are. What's going on, bro?
Not much.
No?
Just hanging out.
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah.
It's been far too long. I see you every now and again in the grocery store passing along, and yeah. We're drinking Budweisers today because that's where I met old John Johnson once upon a time. Yep, cheers. Good to see you. I started at Budweiser. Well, here's the story I was going to tell you, and I'll see if this is how you remember me, because this is why I first started to hate you.
Okay.
I had my mom's Stratus. I took a bus down here from Pueblo because my car was a piece of shit in Pueblo. Probably wouldn't make the trip here, so I take a bus down here. I take my mom's Stratus, and I go to the interview, but I forgot to hit like the parking brake or something. I was like super nervous. So I come out, Carrie. Remember this, John? And that car had rolled into the ditch.
I remember this. It was in the irrigation ditch. I remember it. Yeah. And we all thought to ourselves, what kind of guy shows up for a job interview and then, his car rolls in the ditch and while he's taking the interview.
Right.
It was awesome.
Right.
Hired on the spot.
I was too. That's how bad they needed the help. Because I walk out from the interview and I'm like, I think that went pretty well. And then I see the ass end of my mom's car poking out of that ditch. I was like, motherfucker. So
I can remember you walking in and being like, can somebody come help me?
Someone know how to tow a Stratus out of a fucking ditch, dude. And I walked down, you were like, you let this guy drive our truck? And I was like, I don't know who this guy is. Who this fucker is, but I hate him already. So, and guess who I was with the first day in the truck?
John
Johnson headed to Holyoke, Colorado. So many years ago, man.
It was a long time ago.
It was a fight, as I recall, at a lot of liquor stores. Just a lot of arguing and shit.
Yeah.
John's combative at times.
This is what I hear.
I have a tendency to know when I'm right.
There you go. Well, there you go. Makes perfect sense now. So what are you doing nowadays, brother?
I farm and ranch.
Yeah.
In northern Morgan County.
Okay. All right.
So
what are you ranching?
We got about 200 cow-calf pairs, and we calve them out. We just brake checked them yesterday, as a matter of fact, and weaned calves getting ready for sale.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of work. Is that what Kurt does too?
Well, Kurt has a hired hand, his son-in-law, who does the cows. Kurt just does the farming.
Slacker. How's the farming going nowadays, man?
We had a good year this year.
Yeah.
It was a long time coming. We needed one.
Right.
So
What made it a good year? What was
rain.
That was all the moisture.
All rain. We're all dry land farmers out north.
Right.
And the rain was just, we couldn't ask for a better situation with the rain and everything else. And
Right.
price commodities are good. And it's just been a decent year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We needed one. So
I always know the farmers love the rain. Well, I drive a truck for a living. It's like the snow and shit I hate. You know what I mean? I get a big case of the fuck the farmers. I hate driving in that shit. Rain all day, baby. Rain all day like it's Seattle for all I give a shit. But that white shit's no fun to drive a tanker in. So
I hope it piles 4 feet deep again this winter.
I hope you shit your pants on the way out of here today. That's what I hope, John. Because it damn near did last year. It was every Wednesday was a blizzard. Remember that?
Every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday was a blizzard. So every Wednesday I hated going to work, man. So, and I think it's supposed to be this year too. It's supposed to be
calling for it. I saw our snow predictions the other day are 36 to 48 inches this winter.
Nice.
It's horrible.
I don't work in it, so.
Yeah. Do you like the winter?
I love the winter.
You're from the north, though, right? No, you're
East.
from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
How are the winters down there?
It snows in like November and it stays until March.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's my buddy from Minnesota said it snows the first time and you don't see the ground again until
Nope, not till spring.
Till spring, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you guys can keep that shit there. So someday I'll have a job. When I hit the lottery, Now let's have a different job. We'll just leave it at that for now. So anyway, welcome to the Bull. If you're to the podcast, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. What we do here is we bring on a guest. Today's old Johnny Johnson. What John's going to do is tell us 3 stories about his life. And here's the kicker: only 2 of these stories are true. One's either borrowed, made up, or partly made up, part true, part false. And at the end of the podcast, Carrie and I will try and guess which one is which one's not the true one. But I'm not going to ask you what it is, borrowed or what. We've been doing that lately. We're just shooting from the hip because it hasn't affected our percentage at all. We still suck at this. Something fucking awful. So, John, are you ready to tell some stories, brother?
Let's go.
Let's do this, man. All right. Carrie, you want to read them off for us?
So we have No Chance in Hell, Mistaken Identity, and Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Carrie, you're my guest, so why don't you pick the first story out? Or do you want to tell us in a certain order, or are you okay?
Don't matter to me. You choose.
Carrie, pick one out, sister.
So I really want to hear this Grand Theft Auto story.
Okay. Grand Theft Auto. Growing up in Morgan County, Larry, you did it as well, correct?
Oh, yeah.
What'd we do on weekend nights in the mid-'90s?
We went down, what I did is go downtown, you'd cruise Main, and then you'd find the party, and then you go there from the cruising Main, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So me and a buddy, we were not of legal age to drive. 15 years old.
I'm
we
shocked.
were sitting at his house, and we had no way to get downtown. So his mom worked nights as a nurse, and he says, well, my mom's got another car in the garage. So we're like, okay, let's go. We know all the cops, so we're like, yeah, we'll be fine.
Right.
So we take this probably early 90s Oldsmobile, the little box-style four-door Oldsmobiles.
Oh, yeah.
And we decided to take it, and we're going to go downtown and go cruise. So we went and cruised around downtown on Main Street, and he was driving. And we were driving up and down Main Street, and he gets a little worried because he doesn't have a driver's license. We're quite old enough.
But to be fair, in the mid-'90s, he's not the only one, I guarantee, on that road that's not.
No.
Anyway.
So he says, well, let's go find something else to do. So we went out and went country road cruising like you do. Mm-hmm. And we went to turn around at this place, and the car got stuck. Front wheel drive, those little front wheel drive cars. He drops a tire off in the ditch.
Oh, shit.
We're stuck. Pre-cell phones. None of us had a cell phone.
Right.
None of us had any of this. So we walked down the road to a farmer's house, and we're like, hey, can we use your phone? Call somebody to come help us. Mm-hmm. So we called another buddy that was in town, and we got a hold of his mom because he wasn't home. He was downtown. And we said, well, we need some help. Will you go get him? So he went and got him, gave him the phone number to call us back. He calls us back. We're like, hey, you got to come pick us up. We're out here. The car's stuck. So he gets out there, and he's driving a Camaro. Doesn't have a chain or nothing to pull us out. We're like...
You're getting pulled out with a Camaro.
Yeah. So he shows up in this Camaro to pull us out. And doesn't have a chain or nothing. And we're like, well... Okay, well, we'll just ride back downtown, or we'll get a ride to back to the house, and we'll figure it out from there. And so we go downtown, and we just hang out for a while. Figured that car ain't going nowhere. It's kind of on a dirt road out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Nothing. So we hang out downtown for a little while, and then we're like, we better go back to the house. And so it was up in Morgan Heights. So he gives us a ride back up to the house. We get there, and the cops are sitting out front.
Oh, no.
And his mom had got a phone call at work. The cops had found her car stuck in a ditch out on a dirt road somewhere. So she had come home. And we get out of the car, and we're like, what's going on? I'm like, dude, your mom's home. And he's like, yeah, she's home. I don't know what's going on. We get there, walk up there. She's like, yeah, car was stolen right out of the garage. I'm like, and I look at my buddy, and he looks at me, and we're like, who would have done something like that? So they filled out a police report, and we never did tell her that it was us.
To this day.
No.
Well,
Surprise.
What's that? Yeah.
Surprise, Mom. It was
Has
us.
no idea.
Is this someone who might possibly watch this podcast? They see it on your Facebook or something. They see it and watch her. Do you talk to this friend anymore?
I don't. It's been
Okay.
a while since I've talked to this person, but
Are you friends with his mom?
she has passed.
Oh, well. Well, then I hate to tell you, she fucking knows now, too. Okay.
This is going all the way.
Wow.
But no, yeah, so Grand Theft Auto, case was never solved.
You guys didn't leave the keys in it then?
No.
I
No,
just
he
smashed
took
a-
the keys out of
I
it,
smashed
but
the
sure
window.
in the heck didn't give them back to her.
No.
I don't know, somebody stole your car, but here's the keys to it.
Right. But she didn't notice the keys were missing in the first place.
She left the keys in the car.
Oh.
It was in the garage. but the back door of the garage was always open. So just figured,
Country cats, yeah.
yeah, just figured that somebody was walking down the road, decided they needed a car, and
Right.
got to poking around or steal something from the house, and they jumped in the car and away they went.
Right. You know, this is probably the third or fourth story on this podcast. Same thing, kids taking their mom's car and it always ends up shitty. And they always do the same thing. They always like, somebody stole it.
Somebody stole your car.
Turned out parents in the 90s were incredibly stupid. I don't know. They had to have been, man. Car theft was huge in the 90s. And if they did a survey now, it's like, well, car theft was like 50% in the 90s. Turns out 30% because the 20% were their kids stealing the fucking car, you know, and not fessing up to it. Did you ever steal your mom's car?
No,
No?
maybe. I might have used it without asking a few times, but I never did anything bad.
Really?
Really? Oh, all the time.
Well, your eyes are darting around in a weird way, Carrie. That's what. Yeah. So that's why. Is there a bigger story there?
No,
You lying to me?
maybe.
Does your mom watch these?
My mom passed.
Okay. Well, then yes, she's watching them too. I don't want to explain heaven to you bastards, but. But yeah, she's what's up, Mom? What's your mom's name?
Carol.
What's up, Carol? Heavenly Carol. So, what do you think about that story?
I don't know. It's hard to read John.
It is. He's very monotone. He always has been. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, no, it's that's a typical country kid story, though. So I could see that happening.
Yeah, I could totally see it
very
happening
easily.
too.
Where was the country road at?
It was out south.
South of town. Yeah, it gets pretty muddy, and those dirt roads are
Yeah.
fucking horrible.
Yeah.
That's funny. I remember going downtown cruising Maine the whole time, man. That's what'd you guys do when you were in high school? Where'd you guys meet up, or where was the place to be?
Usually it's like the Walmart parking lot.
The Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
We didn't have a Walmart when we were kids.
No, and nobody wanted to be in Gibson's parking lot. That was just weird. So Kmart's parking lot.
Johnson Superfoods.
Right. As a matter of fact, you go all the way down around that tattoo parlor, go down the one way, all the way to what's that Chinese restaurant there? There's a little one way there, and that's where you turn around. That was the big
You
loop.
turn around. It used to be the DMV, but now it's the NRCS office. You turn in there, and you just flip a U because it was like the only place you could flip a U-turn.
Oh, okay.
And then you'd come back out and go back down Main Street, and then you'd usually go up a block north and come around the block, and then that's all we did for hours.
Hours, dude.
All weekend.
And you'd see somebody park, and like literally that's what we do. We'd go and try and find a party, and then it'd break up. And there was one cop car back in the day. I can't remember what car it was, but everybody knew it was the cop car. They had an undercover car. If you're listening to this at home, I'm doing air quotes, undercover car, but every kid knew what car it was. It's like one cop trying to be young, but yeah, it's
funny because I tell my wife, she's a little younger than I am, but I tell my wife stories about this, and she grew up in Greeley in a big town, and we used to just go cruise Maine, and it'd be like 300-400 kids just piled on Main Street, and that's what we did. We just drove up and down Main Street and sat and BS'd, and she's like, why?
Because there's nothing else.
Dancy says they all go down to the park now. That's where they all cruise down at the park there on the north end of town.
They do. Or they'll do, they'll spin kitties or see who can make like the most smoke clouds
Well, I mean, they
and
ever
stuff
did that.
there. But
Down on Main, you always see fights too. That's where all the fights happen, man.
We were either on Main Street, you were drag racing, fighting, or at a party.
Yeah.
Those were the four options that we had when we were kids.
Yeah, it was nuts. And Wiggins, Brush, even Akron. I guess Akron, those kids cruised Akron, which is weird, but
that's far.
it is far. But no, the whole Morgan County would meet downtown. He's right. There was hundreds of kids. It was wild, man.
And you didn't cross like Morgan Sterling. You didn't go to Sterling to cruise.
Yeah,
that'd be a sure way to find a fight.
Get in a fight.
And vice versa. Sterling boys didn't come to Morgan because they found out of it. And I don't know why. Just high school rivals.
Right.
This, that, but you didn't cross those borders unless you were looking for trouble.
Right. It's funny. Jerry Cage was on this podcast talking about this. This is where he found all his fights. He'd always get into a fight every weekend down in the park, by the library park. What park is that? Glenn Miller Park now, I guess, right? So, yeah, I guess there was a lot of fights down there. That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's been many years. When did they quit doing that? What year did that probably go
The
away?
cops all shut it down.
Did they?
I would say early 2000s.
Okay.
Like 01, 02. It only takes a few people to ruin it for everybody. But
Sure.
I always explained it to my wife, and my dad always used to say, he said, well, at least we know where they're at.
Yeah.
If we know they're all downtown cruising Maine, we know they're not somewhere in an alley or, whatever.
Right.
We know where they're at. They're cruising.
Now these kids have that, what's that app you can put on your phone? How old are your kids, John?
My oldest is 14.
Do you have an app on his phone to track him?
Yes. Everything you do.
Yeah.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
No.
I would. You bet your ass I would. It's a more dangerous world than we grew up in. You know?
Oh, yeah. With Snapchats and
Oh.
TikToks and everything else. It's just,
Too easy to find a kid.
yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's too easy for the predators to...
I figure I put that on his phone, keeps me out of jail.
yeah.
That's the way I
Yeah,
look at it.
you have to kill somebody, right? That's funny. Yeah. Dency, I never knew that app existed until Dency came on the podcast, and that's how she knew where her kids were, because she would follow them around the whole time. And
Well, there's snap maps too.
right. But I mean, this one actually follows the...
This one,
Is that the
I
Life,
can see like
Life 360?
Yes. No, it's called...
the one we have. I think it's called Family Safe Plug.
Plug.
I paid for that,
yeah. Send John some money for the plug, you bastards.
but like every keystroke he makes on his phone.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. If there's a picture that he takes with his cell phone and they consider it nudity or inappropriate, it'll alert us immediately.
Dang.
Really?
Yeah, he lifts weights and stuff, and one time he took a picture in front of the mirror, he was lifting weights and
Yeah.
took a picture in front of the mirror. I mean, within seconds, it alerted us that there was a nudity picture on his phone. It doesn't send us a picture of the picture.
Right,
it just
right.
alerted us that there was a picture of nudity on his phone. So
Oh,
we
dang.
run downstairs and grab his phone. We're like,
Right.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
He goes, I was lifting weights and took a picture in the mirror. And it was like, innocent.
Right.
There was nothing, but it's that sensitive. It's
That's
Right.
crazy.
You know what? I don't disagree with it.
I
Do
don't
you?
like it because I had freedom as a kid. You did.
Sure.
I don't like it, but do I think it's necessary? To a point, yeah.
But there was a difference. We didn't have the alternatives these kids have today.
Yes.
There's the difference. You
We
know?
didn't have anything at the tips of your fingers.
Exactly right.
True.
People dog this generation for the phones and all the stuff they do. We'd have been no different.
No.
Promise you.
Oh, it'd have been
Promise you.
terrible. If me and you'd had smartphones at 14, 15 years
Oh my
old,
God.
could you imagine if somebody was tracking our phones, what they would have saw?
Oh my God. My mom would be like, I know why Lawrence has hairy knuckles. I know why that kid's going to shave his knuckles like daily. We thought he was a weird werewolf or some shit. Turns out he's a pervert. My son's a pervert.
Yeah.
But then again, the nudity thing's good too, because kids are getting in trouble with that at school all the time. There was a big thing in Brush last year.
Oh,
year and a half ago.
Lord.
Fully aware of the situation on there.
Yeah, and they got blown up. And I mean, the kids they just don't know. They don't realize the danger in it. That's the thing that sucks.
And they don't realize. I mean, and we try to beat this into our kids. It said, get off the topic here, but we beat this into our kids. It said that anything you put online is there forever.
Forever.
It can never be completely erased off the internet. And I've told my children this. I mean,
Right.
so think about it before you do it.
That's good. That's good advice.
Anything you say, anything you post, anything you take a picture of, will be on the internet forever.
Right.
So think about it.
Right. I didn't understand that for a long time. When we started doing comedy, we had a little camcorder. We'd, put everything on YouTube. Everybody does, right? My buddy Stevie Young. What's up, Stevie? He's a Yale graduate lawyer. Does comedy. Smart dude. And I said, "You want me to record your thing?" He goes, "No, because it never leaves the internet." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I'll just erase it off YouTube. It'll be fine." He's like, "No, man, it never goes. It never leaves. You can always find it somewhere. So that's scary stuff with kids. Riley was on the podcast. She's 21. They have their little Chromebooks at school, and the school can see everything they're doing on the Chromebook.
Even when they're at home,
Yeah, if you write the word suicide on it, she said that you were gonna get.
it will
You'll
flag.
get flagged.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if you're not on the server at school, we have that same thing. I mean, if
Right.
you type or Google search something that you shouldn't be Google searching,
Right.
they'll know it.
Yeah. You know what? I don't disagree with it.
I don't.
I don't.
I'm glad I did all my crap before cell phone
Right.
cameras were
Oh my
invented.
God. You know what, man? Larry Lundstrom would have been horrible with a cell phone. And, if Facebook and TikTok was around in 1994, I guarantee. Well, I'd never be president. I tell you that shit right now. So.
That changes from now.
yeah, that's true. I'm just saying, right? It'd be easier for me to hide my shit today than it was back in 19. Can you imagine the shit you'd be into when did you graduate? What year, John?
98.
98. Yeah.
Damn.
You?
It would have been 95.
94. See, you're still the young one. But what would you have been? What would have been your thing on Facebook? What would you do? What was big with Carrie Ankrum back then?
I don't even remember back then.
It's like she's in the witness protection program right now, Joe. We're having to like grab stuff out of her, you know.
I feel you.
Okay.
Listen, it's never going to go off the internet.
But you're an adult now, so
yeah.
Am I?
It makes it worse or better. I don't know.
I was an Andrew Dice Clay fan, shit like that, George Carlin. So the amount of, oh my God, non-PC shit that would have came out of my Facebook would have been awful. I'd have been like these politicians. They find that said the N-word back in 2019 or back in 1997. I'm like, well, be fair, you know what I mean? It's not okay, I guess, but it was 1990. The dude was 22 years old and drunk. You know what I mean? So, not to defend that, but he was 22 years old and drunk. So, all right, that was Grand Theft Auto. I like that story because it's just, how do I want to say? In this area, that happens enough to where it's a very believable story.
Exactly.
And you can make that something up real easy with that, and it'd be hard to pass a sniff test there. So, good one on that one. So, 2 more. No Chance in Hell and Mistaken Identity. Let's go with Mistaken Identity there, John.
Okay, Mistaken Identity. This happened when I was about 22, 23 years old. I guess going down the interstate, and I got pulled over unjustifiably.
Of course.
Wink, wink. Air quotes right now in case you're listening to this and not watching.
Got completely profiled for speeding, I think. And so the cop comes up and they do what they do, you know, ask license, registration. He goes back to the cop car. And it's taking a long time. I'm sitting in the car. I'm like, what's going on? I was by myself. I was like, what's going on? So he comes back up to the window and he goes, where were you born? I said, Greeley, Colorado. He goes, okay. He goes back to his cop car. I'll just be another minute. Goes back to his cop car. Seems like forever. Well, then here comes another cop car. And then another cop car. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And he walks back up to the car, and there's 2 or 3 of them now, you know, and he's like, can you step out for me? Yeah, I guess. I hadn't done anything wrong. I mean, I got pulled over for speeding.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm completely lost at this point. And they put me in handcuffs. And I'll go back, and I'm sitting on the hood of the cop car. And they kind of look through the car a little bit, and pretty soon he comes back, and he tells me, you know, are you John Johnson, John W. Johnson? And I go, yes. You were born in Greeley, Colorado. And yes. And he gives my birth date, day, month, and year. I said, yep. And he goes, well, you're wanted on an extraditable warrant out of Louisiana for unpaid child support. And I went, what? There's no way. So,
were you a father at this point or no?
No.
Okay.
I had no kids. Never been to Louisiana.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, it's not me. And he comes back and he goes, well, everything we checks out. It's you.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't think it's me. And so we're sitting there, and I had some problems with some getting bills in the mail from like collection companies that weren't mine. I mean, they totally weren't mine. I was like, this is not my bill. It was for a bill out of Louisiana.
Right.
And I'm like, this is not my bill. So I'm like, well, okay. So I had done some research on this person out of Louisiana that had the same name as I did, John W. Johnson.
Right.
And had found a picture of this gentleman previously to this incident. And he kept saying, well, you're wanted out of warrant out of there. You know, it's your birth date, your place of birth, your name. And I said, what about the Social Security number? He goes, it's close enough.
Close enough.
And I go,
no.
And this is back in the old days where you got your Social Security number based on where you were born and when you were born. So, you know, it was the first 3 numbers were where you were born. The second, I don't remember, the second 2 were like, the first 3 were state, second 2 were county, and the last 4 were like time and place.
Okay.
And our Social Security numbers were 2 off. And I told him, I said, it's not me. And he goes, well, it's close enough that, you know, you're same age, everything else, we're going to take you in. And finally I told him, I was like, ask for a physical description of the person, because I had an idea what was going on here. And come to find out, he was 6'4" and black. And his middle name is William. We were born in the same hospital on the same day in the same city, and our social security numbers are 2 off.
No shit.
And he had a warrant for his arrest, and they thought it was me until I was like, you need to get a physical description of this person before you arrest me. And it comes back and he goes, well, you're obviously not 6'4" and black. And I go, nope, it ain't me.
You know what? Good job for thinking about that, to ask for a physical description.
Right. I wouldn't have.
Well, I'd have threw a fit over if the social security, if the social doesn't match, I don't care if it's 2 numbers off. It doesn't match.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I have my card on me at all times. You know what I mean?
But they said there was enough things, being the place of birth, the date, everything else. And I'm like, come on.
I could see where the cops would make. I can see their point to where that's a lot of coincidences.
It is.
Yeah.
But they ended up turning me loose and cut me loose and realized it was the wrong person, and I didn't get arrested. I got detained on the side of the highway.
There's probably John W. Johnson who's been arrested in Louisiana for stealing a car in Fort Morgan, leaving it ditched on a fucking dirt road somewhere.
I hope so.
He's like, ask for some.
I hope so.
Did you listen to the podcast? It's him.
He's probably, what's up there, John from Louisiana? He's probably like, sons of bitches. Yeah. What do you think about that one, Gary?
You know, I can believe it 100%.
I think that's cool because that's a lot. If that's a true story, that's a great true story because that is the odds of that happening. Well, John Johnson's probably a pretty common name.
Well, yeah.
Very.
I'm Larry Lundstrom, and I know I Googled one time. There's 7 of us in this country. You know what I mean?
At one time, there was, I think, 6 or 7 of John Johnsons in the county.
Oh, really? I don't doubt it, man. I had the joke when I was doing comedy that there's one that's a pastor of this huge church. One's like a fire chief in New York. One's like a giant diamond jeweler. I was like, I'm the fuck up of the Larry Lundstroms. Like, of all the Larry Lundstroms, I'm the worst one. You know what I mean? Like, the rest are so successful. I'm the one from Colorado they don't have to talk about.
Your mom's out there Googling more successful Larry Lundstroms. Are you my son?
Yeah. I thought if he gave you a good name, you might not turn out well like you turned out, son. So
sorry about your luck.
shitty. So, yeah, I like that. That was a great story. And I guess I could see that happening. That's because John Johnson. That's I'd like to know how many John Johnsons are out there.
There's probably a ton. But oddly enough, I was born here in Colorado, and my sister, who's 3 years older than me, was born in Washington, Pennsylvania, and our social security numbers are literally 1 digit off.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it? What is it?
I'm not telling you. But it's the last digit is the only difference between our social security numbers.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, me and my wife's are only a few digits off, and she's 4.5, 5 years younger than me, but we were born in the same hospital.
Really?
But they're eerily close. But because that's back when they did it based on where and when you were born. And now it's a complete random.
Really?
Yeah, because of that problem, stolen identities. If they could figure out your name and when and where you were born, they could get your social security number.
Well, that's true. I never knew there was a method to it. I thought it was just random to begin with.
No, my children's all are random now. You know, they were all born in the same hospital, and they were start different. They're complete different numbers. But back in the day, they were where you were born and when you were born. And
if they want your social security number, they're going to find it.
Oh, it's not that hard.
No, man. Everything's online, dude.
It's on the internet.
Yeah. Where it'll stay forever. So, all right. Yeah, I like that one, too. That was good. You're doing a good job, John. I like it so far. So, we got one left. We got No Chance in Hell.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this about me. I'm an avid hunter. I enjoy hunting. I spend 30 to 45 nights a year away from home hunting. It's kind of my passion.
Cool. And
we travel anywhere from, we've been in Texas, all over Colorado, Nebraska, all over. We travel to hunt, and we have a good time doing it. I've got a close group of friends that we all have the ability to do what we do and travel, and it's great. But it was opening day of elk season, 2016, the year Trump was elected. Remember it like it was yesterday. But so it's opening day. It's Saturday morning. We go back into this what we call the bowl, and we have this little knob on the bottom of this bowl, and with this huge bowl that we can hunt. And we have built long-range rifles that are accurate to extreme yardage.
Okay.
I mean, a mile target can be hit with them.
Is there one of your buddies that's on the city council in Brush?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonder who that is.
Allison. All right.
So
what's up, Al?
So we get up on the side of this mountain here, and we get down into the bottom of the bowl, and we decide we're going to walk up to one. We're not seeing anything. Nothing's coming out. It's me and my buddy, and then my brother, and we decided we're going to go around to the edge of it. So we walk around to the edge of it, and there's some people up top that we hear some shooting, way off in the distance, and we're like, all right. So we kind of get down and get ready. We figured, some animals are going to come out, and we found us a place to shoot up on the side, and we see this bull elk running down across the bottom. At a dead run, comes out running across the bottom. It runs up over on the other side of the bowl, and we're sitting there, and my buddy, which was beside me, and we range it and everything else, and it's like 1,650 yards away. It's a long ways away. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna take a shot at it. It was first thing in the morning. The heating and cooling of the earth causes winds.
Right.
Well, where we were at, there was no wind. So I take a shot, and later we found out that we didn't adjust for the proper windage. And I shoot, and I miss wide right of this animal. Could see the bullet splash, everything where I missed. And it walks around and walks up into this trees on the other side of the bowl.
What kind of animal are we talking?
Elk.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a bull elk.
Okay, yeah, you said that. I'm sorry.
Pay attention.
I'm sorry.
So we're like, well, let's make our way down there. We'll get down there and get us maybe get another opportunity at this animal. So we come down and we get back down to where we originally started that morning. And we walk up on this knob, and here come a cow, and he had a cow tag. So we stop. He shoots this cow, which is just down from the trees where this bull was, and so he shoots this cow at like 780 yards. Heck of a shot. Dropped it. So we take off and we head off the mountain, and we go down to the bottom there where this cow was, and he's getting ready to start dressing this cow, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm gonna go up there in that tree row, see if that bull's still there. And he looks at me and he goes, whatever, thinking we'd been shooting in there and everybody else had been shooting in there. There's no way that bull's down there. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna walk up there, and it's like another, I don't know, 400 yards uphill to where we saw these bull go into these heavy timber. And I'm walking up there, and I get to the edge of the heavy timber, and I start walking in there, and it gets dark. I mean, it's overgrown heavy timber, and it starts getting dark, and I'm like, so I pulled my gun off my back, and I realized, oh, hell, I never adjusted my scope back down from when we were shooting at 1,650 yards. So I was like, I better adjust that back down. So I pulled it off my back, I adjust it back down, and I'm walking, and I take my gun, and I decided I've got a sling, keeps it on your back, so I decided to just hold on to it, because now I'm getting into the dark timber, I never know what you're going to see. And I walk up and around this corner, and 20 yards away, this elk is laying down under a tree, and as I walk around the corner, it spins its head and looks at me, and I spun and looked at it, and we kind of looked eyes, and we were like, we were both surprised, to say the least. But he's like 20 yards away. He's not very far away.
Right.
And he jumps up to run off, and I kind of just spun and stuck my gun under my arm, And when I'm talking about this particular firearm, it's big. These guns that we built, they're enormous.
Right.
And so they're not really meant to be able to just stand there and shoot them. They're meant to be laid down or on a rest or something. And so I spin, and I kind of stuck it under my arm and just kind of aimed down the side of it, and I shot, because this thing's like stupid close. And I shoot, double lung it, kill it on the side of the mountain. I'm like, no way that just happened. And so I go out to the peak of this mountain where I was up, and I was up 400 or 500 yards above everybody else. They were down at the bottom taking care of that cow. And I, scream. I'm like, hell yeah, screaming off the side of the mountain. And pretty soon I hear, here comes my buddy. He comes up the hill, tromping up the hill. And he gets up there, and he's I thought there was no chance in hell that bull was still, no way that animal was still in there after been shooting and everything else.
Right.
And no, sure enough, I shot her up there on the side of the hill, and we luckily had a good group of guys with us because we were about a mile and a half back in where you can't take cars.
Right.
And we had to carry these animals out, and there was 9 of us, and we got 2 of them down back there. One's enough back that far.
Right.
Well, now we got 2 of them. And one's a big bull elk, and the other one was a cow. I don't know what that bull weighed, probably 1,100 pounds, and the cow was probably 700 pounds. And we got these 2 animals down a mile and a half back on a mountain where we can't get them out of there. Call our buddies. They all come down out of their hunts, and we spent, I think that was probably done about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I think it was 6:45 that night before we got off the side of that mountain.
Oh, damn.
All day to get those 2 animals off the side of that mountain.
That bull elk was still there because you missed him so many times. He's like, fuck these guys and their shots.
They
I'm going to take a nap.
Shit.
Perfectly safe here, Don't run, kids. They're fine. I don't care if they got a surface-to-air missile launcher. It's fine.
But, no, great experience.
I asked that because I know you're friends. You and him are friends.
Yeah.
And I've become buddies with him over the years, working on the city council together because we're in the same ward. And because that doesn't narrow it down at all. Okay, we're talking about so. And
what's up?
I told him to come on this podcast many times, but it turns out he's kind of scared.
He is scared.
And
we're actually leaving in the morning to go on a Nebraska whitetail hunt. So.
That's what he said. It's funny because he's on TikTok, and I follow him. And I don't know dick about hunting. I've just never been a big hunter, never been into it. But I listen to him argue with people about guns and what to shoot with what and stuff. And I got to tell you, I have no clue what the hell he's talking about half the time. But I sit there and like to watch him argue with people because he's very good at it.
He's very good.
The boy likes to argue. Mm-hmm. He just likes to argue. So, half the time I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Me and him have been friends since Cub Scouts.
Really?
4 or 5 years old. Oh, yeah. We went all the way through Cub Scouts.
Right.
Boy Scouts together and grew into adults and just remain great friends.
He's a good dude, man. Yeah, he's a good dude. So
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you.
I'm way better looking than he is.
Well, who isn't? Oh, come on. What do you think about that story?
I like that story.
Yeah?
I don't know how I feel about that story either.
Really?
I was in it, but then I don't know. I feel like you got a little, mixed up in your what do I say? What do we say?
Like he was okay. All right, that's good. That's a good point, I guess. Do you have one in mind? Don't tell me which one it is. But do you have one in mind?
I do have one in mind.
I do too, actually, but for a different reason than you. So.
You think?
Not maybe that one. I'm not going to tell you. Are we friends now? Are we confiding in each other now? Is that what's going on? How shitty is that? So what we're going to do, John, is we're going to rock, paper, scissors to see which one of us has to try and guess first, right? So when we rock, paper, scissors, there's 2 ways of doing it. How do you do it?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
That's right.
Devil's way. So I guess we'll do it that way. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Oh, you win. So I have to go first?
You got to go first. Which one do you think of? We have great stories. We have No Chance in Hell, Mistaken Identity, and Grand Theft Auto.
So I am going to go with No Chance in Hell.
And how come? Because of what you said earlier?
Just because I feel like he kind of not fumbled over the words, but was trying to dig into details for it. So that's what I'm going. That's
the thing. Okay, all right.
That's the one I'm sticking with.
No Chance in Hell. I'm going to go with No Chance in Hell being a true story, as I'm going with Mistaken Identity being a true story. Grand Theft Auto is what I'm going to pick. Here's why. No Chance in Hell and Mistaken Identity both had a lot of detail to them. You can tell on this podcast, people are passionate about their stories. Now, some people are very good about telling bullshit stories and lying, and that's where they put the most detail. They know that's what I look for. Pretty transparent. But Grand Theft Auto, although that was a very believable story, that's a very country kid story, a small town kid story. I think that's the easiest one to make up if it's made up. Because remember, we didn't ask if it's made up or any of that stuff. Right? So I'm going to go with Grand Theft Auto. You're going to go with No Chance in Hell?
No Chance in Hell.
Before you flip that over, I do want to say thank you to the Brush Emporium. Thank you for giving us a space down here to have our podcast. Thanks for being so generous with everything. So if you haven't been here, what have you been waiting for? John, have you had a chance to eat here yet?
I have not. I don't make it to Brush much. This is the first time I even knew about this.
You're going to have to take some wings home with you. They have pizza, chicken wings, ice cream, frozen yogurt. They do funnel cakes. They've done everything. Pastas, pretzels. Carrie gets down on some pretzels every time she comes. She's a pretzel freak over here. And they also have a bunch of shops upstairs. So Christmas time's coming, so if you need a present, you need a good gift, come down here and check it out. It's all homemade stuff. It's all stuff that is hobbies from people around town. A lot of vendors around town. A lot of cool stuff. Also, if you eat here, they have a bunch of games for the kids. Board games, chess, all that good stuff's upstairs. So it's a great family restaurant. It's a great couple families that own this are really great. So 210 Clayton Street, come down and check them out. Please support them. And if you've enjoyed this today, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen is our little subscribe button. It's a little red dot. Go ahead and hit that because it's a small click for you, but it's a huge click for us. We really appreciate it. Right, Carrie?
We do.
Do you subscribe yet? Oh, my God, Carrie.
On the spot.
Oh, my God. I know. That's what I do. I was going to ask her before this, but I said, but that's not a shitty thing to do. I'll wait till it's going. So.
I don't know.
Oh, God, Carrie. I think Carrie wakes up and says, how can I hurt Larry today?
I know.
Right in the feeling.
I need to bring the tortillas.
Kurt goes, what's his story? What's his list with Larry? That's the ways I like to hurt him and fuck him over. And Kurt's like, it should be bigger. It should be bigger. So, all right. So, No Chance in Hell. I'm doing Grand Theft Auto. John, let's see your board, brother. Grand Theft Auto. What's not true about it?
Everything. Completely bullshit. Okay. The entire story was complete bullshit.
But a very believable story. That same story has been true with a lot of people on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been kind of crazy. Melissa Anderson, I think, has the reigning one, as they stole her mother's car when driving. Yeah, it was drinking and driving. And I can't remember what else happens, but I remember being like, holy shit, because there's been 144 episodes now, so they all kind of blend into each other. So completely bullshit. Nice shot in the dark, though, man. A lot of people have the balls to do that. A lot of people try and make half and half up. No Chance in Hell is a true story.
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
That's crazy. What'd you do with the Bullhucker?
It is Euro mounted in my basement.
What does Euro mounted mean?
Not with the fur on it.
Oh, like the one at my shop?
Yes, the one I did at your shop.
So the one at my shop, he did it.
I don't know if I've seen the one at your shop.
It's the real big one in the box.
Massive deer.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in, you see it is straight ahead.
They got hit the day before opening day of muzzleloader season. Thanks to Kurt for that. Thanks a lot.
Okay, no fur on it.
No.
It's like one of those fucking weird cats or what?
No, it's got a skull. It's just a bear skull.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was
just the horns and the skull.
I thought it looked like you shaved the fucking thing.
You gotta go look at it. That was huge.
I will go check it out. At first, I was like, I want to see that.
I've got a video of it. I'll show it to you.
All right, I'll check that out. And Mistaken Identity. Crazy enough, that's a true story.
That is crazy.
Absolutely is. At 100%. And I used to get, like I said, apparently the guy is not a very good guy.
Really?
And I used to get collection notices and debt notices and stuff. And I was like, does it have an address in Louisiana? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, it ain't me. I promise.
Did you ever reach out to this guy?
No. I would want to meet him. I'd be like, let's...
I would have. I'd reached out to him.
Yeah. Can I meet you?
Hey, I'm John Johnson, head of the John Johnson Club. We're considering kicking you out there. Jonathan Johnson, maybe. You got to change your fucking name because we're all sick of the bullshit. So... yeah, that's crazy.
They put me in cuffs on the side of the interstate one night for unpaid child support, extraditable warrant to Louisiana.
That's kind of fucking scary, right? Because
because I was like, I don't even know what's going on.
How old were you again?
23 or 24. I was pretty young.
Right. But I'm saying, John, if you wouldn't have been thinking quickly enough, you might have been headed to Louisiana, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're...
Imagine the shock on their face when they told them when I just showed up and they've been like, you're supposed to be a black man. Not. Surprise.
And I peek my head on the corner and be like, check him underneath, he says.
I was born a poor black child.
The jerk, right? I got the reference. Look at it. Good for me. Before we go, real quick, Carrie, how's the hair salon going? The City Barber.
It's a barber shop, not a hair salon.
I call it a hair salon.
No.
I need one of those. You know any good
You're
barbers?
Scheduled.
I know.
Black Friday.
My wife just informed me of that.
Yeah.
She gives you a shave?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. I clipper it. I don't do the straight razor.
Oh, okay. You don't do a straight razor? Mm-mm. Is that just an echo thing?
Yeah. I mean, do you want my whole ass with a straight razor?
Not anymore. I can't trust you, Carrie. You get too many secrets now. I don't like it. So, John, did you have a good time, bro?
I did. This was awesome.
Were you nervous at all?
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, I always ask at the end because a lot of people want to come on this podcast, but then they kind of back out because they get too nervous to do it. And would you ever do this again?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get your buddy to do it. Every time I see him,
maybe we'll get the two of us and we'll just we'll come up with some hunting. We've got some great stories from hunting.
Yeah.
And we'll make you two figure out which one's BS because
I don't know much about hunting, man. You know why I don't like to hunt? I don't like to shit out in the woods. That's my big thing. I'm too fond of toilets.
You don't like getting that close to nature?
Yeah, I'm not joking, but I don't dig it, man. So I don't know. It's never been out. I don't know. So you freeze your ass off, but if you like it, I guess you like it. So
buy the right gear, right equipment.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. My kids do it. My kids are all in on and participating. And
how young's the youngest?
Don't 11. Look at me.
Say, come on, Father of the Year. How young's your youngest?
They're 14, 12, and 11.
And they all go hunting?
Yeah.
That's cool. What do they hunt for?
We do deer, and my oldest has been elk. He's old enough. Colorado, you got to be 12 years old before you can even apply. So we've taken to Nebraska, and you can get deer tags in Nebraska as young as 10. So last year I took all 3 of them.
What's the craziest thing you ever hunted?
Alligators.
You can hunt alligators?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need a permit for that?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Where'd you do that at?
Florida.
I was going to say Louisiana when you're knocking up some poor lady who won't pay for child support.
You caught me.
How do you hunt an alligator?
Went out on airboats, and it's a guided hunt. So, any hunter understands the difference between just a self-guided hunt and an actual guided hunt where you pay a guide to take you out, and they basically hand deliver you an animal and sneak you up, and they know where they're at and everything else. It was a guided hunt deal that we had won through a raffle or something. I don't remember what it was. It was back probably about 2013. Okay. It's been a while ago. But you get on airboats and you go out in the swamp in the middle of the dark, and there's a guy with a light on his head, and here we run around in the swamp, and he takes, and at like 40 mile an hour, he'll harpoon this animal with a harpoon off the boat. And then they bring it up, and then I actually killed mine with a pocket knife. True story.
How big was it?
9 foot.
Jesus, where the fuck did you stab it?
right behind the skull.
Say, man, it's like a Happy Gilmore thing there where you get it in the eye, but it lives. It takes your hand. You know what I mean? Yep. In Louisiana,
there was no wooden fingers in it.
No, it's all in the hips. Tim Deso lived in Louisiana. I went and visited him in Lake Charles. And that blew my mind. Those things just walking down the street.
Really?
Yeah, man. I saw like 2 or 3 of them. Like they don't have a lot of sidewalks. It's a weird state. But anyway, I'm like, there's a fucking alligator, crocodile, or alligator. It's an alligator. And he's like, yeah, they're all over the place. Like skunks around here, or badgers, or raccoons. You just see them, like, oh, there's a raccoon. Well, down there, like, oh, alligator. Watch the kids. Make sure they don't eat the. It's nuts, man.
It really is. It's crazy.
You ever been to Louisiana?
Yeah. I've been to New Orleans. Yes.
Okay.
Went to New Orleans once.
Mardi Gras?
No.
No.
That
wouldn't be good for John Johnson.
John Johnson doesn't like people that much.
Do you like boobs?
I mean, who doesn't?
I hate to tell you they're attached to people, John, just so you know. I did the math on that one. So, anyway, John, thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
It was a great time.
I'm Moose Lundstrom.
I'm Carrie Ingram.
Hey, till next time. Peace.